Hi there, and thank you for watching. My name is Stephen Campbell, and I'm the pastor at the International Baptist Church of Bonn. We're an international body of believers striving together to establish a gospel-centered community in Bonn, Germany, by the increase of love for God, each other, and our neighbors. Throughout the year, we'll be releasing a new video each week as part of our aim at IBC Bonn to lay a strong foundation for our members so they can have a vibrant faith and a consistent Christian life. And you're watching our Week 2 video. In the previous video, we looked at the grand story of the Christian faith, that we are all sinners, that God provides us salvation from death and forgiveness for our sins, and that those who are Christians should respond to the gift of God with praise and obedience. In fact, all people should respond to God's gift of salvation by obeying Him, loving Him, and following after Him. In this video, we will begin to look at our sin and misery. How do we know that we are sinners? Well, as Christians, we believe that we know our sin and misery from the law of God, which shows us that we are guilty in the eyes of God. What does this mean? Well, if you and I compare ourselves to other people, we might think, well, I'm not such a bad person. In fact, I do a lot of good things for others. I treat God's creation well. I work hard to provide for my family. I'm definitely better than those people. But Christians don't compare ourselves with each other, and we don't compare ourselves with other people. There has to be a standard by which to judge between right and wrong, between good and evil. And Christians don't believe that people are that standard. No, Christians acknowledge that God is the standard, and He has given mankind His law. God's law is the standard by which we compare ourselves. That's how we can know that we are sinful. So, what is God's law? Well, when Jesus was walking on the earth in His life, He was asked about God's law, and His answer gives us a summary of the entire law of God. This summary is called the Great Commandment, and that is our second point. Christians believe that God's law is summarized in the Great Commandment, and these are the words of Jesus. He said, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the great and first commandment, and a second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments depend all the law and the prophets." Love God and love others. That is the summary of God's law. Can you keep this law? Well, maybe you think you can, but that's not what the Bible teaches. That's why, thirdly, Christians believe that it is not possible for humanity to keep this law perfectly because of our sinful nature that goes against God and our neighbor. We'll discuss in our next video where our sinful nature comes from, but for now it's important to realize that it is impossible to keep God's law perfectly. I think you can admit this if you're honest with yourself, can't you? You and I break this law all the time. We do not perfectly love God all the time, and we do not perfectly love other people all the time. When we're honest, we would admit that we choose selfishness, greed, and unkindness, impatience, hatred, unforgiveness, and many other sins every day of our lives. This is an uncomfortable realization, but it's one that we must make. For the next 2 weeks, we will continue to unpack this sinfulness. It may be uncomfortable, but it's important to begin with the truth. We are sinful people doomed to die because of our sin. Only when we know this can we truly appreciate and properly respond to God's grace. And that's why for this week, the memory verse is that great commandment. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the great and first commandment, and the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments depend all the law and the prophets. Well, that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and God bless you. Be sure to like these videos and follow our channel to be notified each week when a new video is posted.